was a kid at school that sold pencils. Now, yes, it was a simple business, but he had one of these fancy, expensive pencil sharpeners at his house, and they sharpened pencils perfectly. Like the wood around the lead was even. The point was as sharp as a pin. It's perfect. So every night he'd be in his garage watching his TV, sharpening these pencils, and then he would bring them to school the next day. He had this very carefully picked out pencil case that would protect the tips of all these pencils. The next morning he would open it in class and show his classmates. I mean, I already have a pencil, but those look amazing. Something about how perfectly sharpened they were captured people's eyes every single time. He sold them for 50 cents each. And when he would hand these pencils over to the customers, they would hold on to it and look at it like they just bought something very expensive, very rare. Well, word spread, business began to boom, and people all around the school wanted his pencils, which is crazy to me because they could have just sharpened their own, but there was something about his. Some kids even bought them and refused to write with them because they didn't want to ruin how good they were. What? In total, he made around $400. He ran this for like a year, and then he stopped because he bought the pair of shoes he wanted. And what do I always say? Write it in the comments before I can say it. You gotta respect the hustle. This kid had the weirdest job at school. He fixed people's reputations. See, anytime somebody embarrassed themselves, they would feel horrible. They would feel like everyone's talking about them. It wasn't a nice feeling. Like if someone was tripped in the hallway, called the teacher mom, threw up at lunch, everybody would spend the rest of the day talking about it. Unless this kid got involved. Because what he would do is if he was paid enough money or given something valuable enough, he would start an even crazier rumor about somebody else. Not really mean rumors, just unbelievable ones that would make everybody forget what that one kid went through. Dude, you hear that one kid, Tyler, brought a turtle to class? No, it wasn't a turtle, it was a bag of turtle poop. And once something like that spread around, the previous embarrassment, the one the kid paid to get rid of, went away. And it worked brilliantly because people's attention spans are shorter than you think. When other people found out who this reputation fixer was, he began to have clients. People kept his phone number in their phone just in case they would ever need him. And a lot of kids did. Bro, you gotta help me. Text me the details, send me $15, and by lunch, you'll be good. He would then get the text, the money, he would disappear. By lunch, wow. Kid's a genius. Gone. You gotta respect the hustle. This kid named Matt was spending the night at his friend's house for the first time. They had been best friends since the start of the year, but he had actually never stayed at his house before. Everything was pretty normal at first. Pizza, video games, all that. Before bed, the dad walks into their room and says, "All right, boys, remember, no flushing the toilet after 10 p.m., okay?" Matt just laughs. He thinks the guy's joking. This ain't no joke, son. I'm serious. If you have to go, go, but don't flush until morning. Then he just walks out. What's that about, dude? Yeah, man, my dad's really strict about the water bill. He says flushing at night's a waste. Bro, what if I gotta dump one? You just don't, okay? Alright, weird, but whatever. Matt and this kid go to sleep. Fast forward to 2 a.m. Matt wakes up, and of course, he's gotta go to the bathroom. He tries to hold it, but it's impossible. His stomach is rumbling, if you catch my drift. Finally, he sneaks out of bed. He heads to the bathroom. He's extra quiet. He does his business and then stands up. When he stands up and looks into the toilet, he's debating. Should I flush or not? There's literal in there. He's gonna flush. This is stupid. Big mistake. Within seconds, he hears footsteps. Fast footsteps. Coming straight for the bathroom. Before he can even react, the door swings open. His friend's dad is wide awake, standing there, staring at him. Get out. Okay, I'm going back to sleep. No. Get out of my house. Alright. It was 2 a.m. He had to call his parents, wake them up, and they had to come get him. He told his parents what happened, and they never let him go to his best friend's house ever again. Hey, you're the guy selling the dresser, right? Yes, sir, $40 and it's yours. This guy was scrolling through Craigslist, looking for some cheap furniture, when he found a solid wooden dresser that he really liked. He meets up with the seller, pays him, and hauls the dresser home. Everything seems totally normal, until he opened up the first drawer. What the heck is this? And inside that drawer was a Ziploc bag full of teeth. Human teeth. And not just like a couple of teeth. We're talking dozens. Different sizes, shapes, colors, some old and yellow, others perfectly white. What is this? He immediately calls the seller. Hey, yeah, hi, so what's in this dresser? Oh, you found the teeth, huh? Yes, I found the teeth. Why are there teeth in this dresser that you sold me? Listen, man, my grandpa was a dentist and those are his collection, okay? A collection of human teeth. Okay, so why are they in the dresser? Oh, that's just where he kept them. Okay, but why are there so many of them, dude? This is kind of crazy. I don't know, bro. He was really passionate about teeth, okay? Now I got a Caesar salad and Love is Blind to watch. Can I go? Yeah, okay, bye. So this guy did what any normal person would do. He kept the teeth. Why? Well, just in case that guy's grandpa was a serial murderer. So one day in 7th grade, this kid got called into the principal's office. He had no idea why. He walks in, sits down, and the principal just stared at him. The principal asks, "So, you want to tell me what you did?" The kid's confused. "I have no idea what you're talking about." That's when the teacher walks in, and she looks pissed. "Don't play dumb, you know exactly what you did." Now the kid's kind of panicking. "I swear I don't know, what did I do?" "You skipped my class yesterday, but I know you were at school because I saw you before and after lunch." "What were you doing?" "Huh? Probably something illegal." But here's the thing. He was literally in her class yesterday. No, I wasn't. I was in class. I was sitting on my usual seat. You're crazy. I took attendance, and you were not there. Detention. Now, at this point, this kid is super frustrated. He already did not like this teacher. Now she's accusing him of skipping her class for whatever reason. So he asks the principal one simple question. "You have security cameras in every hallway, right?" Of course we do, yeah, for the safety of the school." "Then check them." The room goes silent. The teacher grows pale because she knows she messed up. They send the kid to sit outside the office while they looked at the cameras, and 15 minutes later, they called him back in. "We checked the footage. You were in class." "I know." "You can go. I'll handle your teacher." But as he was walking away from the office, he could hear the principal yelling at the teacher. "Now why on God's green earth would you make something like that up?" "Oh, I didn't. I swear." "You better shut your mouth. You're on thin ice. You're on thin ice." So one day in 8th grade, the school had a fire drill. Pretty normal, the alarm goes off, and the teacher lines everybody up. But this one kid, he had a plan. "I have a plan." See, earlier that week, the teacher said something that gave him an idea. "If there's ever a fire class, you should only take the essentials, okay?" So while everyone walked out with nothing, this kid sprinted out carrying his entire desk, chair included. He was full speed hauling it through the hallway. "Hey, why are you taking your desk?" "Young man, what are you doing?" And he just yelled back, "It's an essential!" And then outside, while the whole school stood in the parking lot, he sat down at his desk like it was a normal school day. He started pulling out his notebooks and he was taking fake notes. The kid was a real comedian. Everyone was dying of laughter. Teachers were too confused to even yell at him. And then when the principal finally came over and asked, "Hi, what are you doing?" he just shrugged and said, "I thought we were evacuating, so I evacuated my education." Okay. And after that, every single fire drill, someone tried to take something bigger out with them. It became this crazy thing that people were doing, until one day the principal got on the intercom and begged, "During fire drills, students, please, stop taking the furniture outside with you. Please." Honestly, that kid's a legend. This woman had been dating this guy for a few months, and the first time she stayed over at his house, she wanted to take a shower in the morning, but she noticed there wasn't any towels in the bathroom.
"Steven?
"Yeah, what's up?"
There's no towels in here. Can I have a towel, please?"
"Oh, yeah, sure, 1 second. Here."
Thanks.
She noticed that the towel he gave her was obviously super dirty, and it smelled horribly.
"Steven,
"Yeah, what's up?"
can I have a clean towel, please? This one's dirty."
"What do you mean? No, that's clean."
It's definitely dirty. It's fine, though. Just get me a new towel.
Okay, fine. Here.
Thank you. Dude, this one's dirty, too. Did you wash these?
What are you talking about? You don't need to wash towels. Every time you shower, they clean themselves because they're getting wet. It's like the same thing as a washing machine.
So you never wash your towels?
Never. My mom did the same thing.
What? That is nasty. That is nasty. This is not gonna work. I'm sorry. I'm gonna go shower at my own place.
Sometimes teachers suck. The person that shared this story said that when she was in high school, she was one of the best art students in the school. Well, one of the assignments was that they had to design something on the computer and email it to the teacher. Well, one day in a different class, she was called down to the office.
Kayla Anderson, please come to the principal's office.
In the office was her principal, Kayla, have a seat, and her art teacher.
Hi, Kayla. Hi, what's going on? Well, I got your homework that you emailed, the graphic design project. Something was off, so I ran it in a reverse Google search. Yes, and don't even try to deny this. We caught you red-handed. What? That's impossible. I made that myself. Oh, did you? Mm-hmm. Well, how come I found it on a random artist website? What is the website? Not like it matters. Read me the website. Okay, whatever. You plagiarized your project from KaylaJohnsonArt.com. Yeah, that's my website, you...
One day, this kid came to middle school with pink eye. He didn't really tell anybody about it, because if the school knew he had pink eye, they would make him stay home. Well, this was right around the time where classes were having some of their biggest tests of the year, and students were getting stressed out. Oh, dude, I couldn't study at all this week. I'm gonna fail this test, like, it's bad. I tried my best. Hopefully I passed, but you know. What's wrong with your eye, dude? I have pink eye. Oh my god, you have pink eye? Why are you here? Because they're serving chicken nuggets at lunch today. I can't miss that. Dude, if you give me pink eye right now, I'll have it by tomorrow and I won't be able to take the test. Gives me more time. Dude, all right, $10. Okay, here. All right, you ready? Go for it. Okay. Well, word spread, and that day, this dude made $350. The school got pretty suspicious why tons and tons of students had pink eye at the same time. They couldn't really pin it on anybody, and it was a win-win. This kid made some good money, and tons of students were able to pass their tests because they had more time to study.
Yay!
So this one high school had a basement. Students didn't really know it existed. It was used for maintenance, storage, stuff like that, and it was always locked. Well, one day, this kid, let's call him Jake, was wandering around the school during his free period when he noticed the door to the basement was kind of ajar. The janitor forgot to lock it, so he goes down there. It was a huge, dusty storage room. Old desks, broken chairs, random junk everywhere. But in the middle of the room, there was this tiny metal box that caught his attention. What is that? So he opens it. Inside the box was a single envelope. He picked it up, felt something inside, and he looked. And what he found in there would make his stomach drop. Inside the envelope was an old student ID. The photo was faded. The name was a name he did not recognize, and the date on it, 1986. Underneath the ID was a set of car keys, and underneath the car keys, a newspaper clipping. The headline, high school senior still missing, car found abandoned in school parking lot. He slammed the box shut and ran the heck up the stairs. He was getting out of there. He tried telling a teacher what he saw. The teacher was kind of curious, so she went to the basement door, but it was locked. The janitor walks up. Hi, can I help you? Yeah, one of my students was curious about something in here. Do you mind if I come down here and take a look? Looking for like a metal box or something? Oh, sure. Yeah. She goes down there, but there wasn't a metal box to be found anywhere. She thanks the janitor, goes back upstairs, and tells the student, I don't know what you saw, but there's nothing down there right now, so it must have been your imagination or something. Go to class. But deep down, he knows he came across something very sinister that day. So one day, in the middle of third period, this one high school student stood up, didn't say a word, didn't pack up any of his stuff. He just got up and walked out. The teacher was stunned for a second before yelling, where do you think you're going? And without breaking stride, the kid just said, I've learned enough. The teacher was mad, everyone laughed, but they all assumed he would be back the next day. Except he wasn't. Not the next day, not the next week. But here's the crazy part, it's like the school almost let it happen. People were constantly asking, is he suspended? Did he get expelled? Did he transfer? Nobody had an answer. Well, one day, this concerned student went to the office to ask for himself. Hey, do you have any idea where Johnny's been? Johnny Stevenson? The secretary said, well, it says here that he's still enrolled in the school, so maybe you just missed him. He was still enrolled, but nobody's seen him. He didn't drop out. He was still a student, but nobody had seen him for months. Then at the end of the year, something even weirder happened. It was graduation day. The principal was reading names, and suddenly they read his name. Johnny Stevenson! Everybody froze. People were stunned. There was a long, awkward silence. Then, at the back of the room, Johnny stood up, wearing a full cap and gown. He walked down the aisle, shook the principal's hand, took his diploma, and walked out. And still, nobody knows where Johnny went all that time. Senior year, somebody pulled the most evil school prank anyone has ever seen. It started during first period in math class. Dead quiet, the teachers were writing notes on the board, and out of nowhere, faintly, you heard Baby Shark Song. What is that? The whole class looks up, the teacher stops writing. Whoever's playing that, turn it off! Then the music cuts off and everyone's confused for a second. Then 10 minutes later it happens again, but it's louder this time. Yo, what's going on? This time, it wouldn't stop. The song was on repeat. People are laughing, the teachers are losing their minds, and the staff is looking for where this is coming from. Nobody could find it. And then a little bit later, it gets worse. The song is playing everywhere. It's obviously coming from multiple different speakers. In the science room, in the bathrooms, above the cafeteria, and every single speaker is synced together. And it disrupts the entire school day because kids can't focus, teachers can't teach. Every time they find one speaker, the other ones get louder. Apparently, the seniors had hidden these Bluetooth speakers in ceiling tiles, nooks, crannies behind lockers. There was even one in the trophy case. It took almost 3 full hours to find each and every one of them. Let's just say every single student and teacher in that school had Baby Shark stuck in their head for at least a month after that. That, my friends, is genius. These two 12-year-olds started a lemonade stand one summer, and at first it was basic. Like they had the table, the sign, they were making lemonade, and people were buying it. They spent days perfecting the recipe. They were treating it like a chemistry project. But the thing is, the lemonade was incredible. Kids, this lemonade is incredible. People on their street loved it, but business began to slow down a lot. Then one of them goes, why are we selling this stuff to a cul-de-sac of 20 people when there's a whole downtown area? Good idea, let's move shop. So one Saturday morning, they moved the entire operation downtown, middle of town square. And now they're selling BLT sandwiches. And business was absolutely booming. They're making so much money. Word spreads fast. There's lines. They're selling out. At one point, a nearby cafe owner goes, "You're putting us out of business, guys!" And the kids take that as a compliment. But then the city gets involved. Because apparently, once you start having this sort of business in a public downtown area, you need a license. Health inspectors show up. And these two kids are just standing there like, we're 12. Inspector's like, doesn't matter. And the city shuts the stand down immediately for not having permits or licenses. But the kids made so much money that they got over it pretty quick. There was this girl on the swim team named Maddie. Hey! And Maddie hated swim practice more than anybody alive. Because every day after school, the team had to get on this humid, disgusting bus and drive across town to the Park District pool. The bus had towels everywhere. The chlorine smell always trapped in the seats. Some kid always eating goldfish crackers for no reason. They're delicious. They're so good. Then after they get to the pool, 3 straight hours of misery would begin. Sprint laps, flip turns, the coach screaming, "Swim faster, you idiots!" People were literally throwing up after they were done. Then one day during practice, the lifeguard suddenly blows the whistle. Everybody out of the pool! Apparently, on the other half of the pool, a kid taking swim lessons pooped, and swim practice was canceled instantly. Everybody goes home, and Maddie realizes this is a life hack. So the next week, she goes to swim practice unusually happy. Hidden in her hoodie pocket is a fake plastic poop from the prank store. Halfway through practice, everyone is exhausted doing their sprints. Maddie casually swims to the deep end, drops the fake poop in, and pushes off the wall. At first, nobody notices. Then one kid surfaces and goes, "Poop! Poop!" Instantly, people begin freaking out. Everyone's climbing out of the pool. The lifeguard blows the whistle. The coach looks. Yep, that's poop. Pool gets shut down, practice gets canceled. At this point, the coach and the swim team had left, but the lifeguards, as they began to clean, they realized this is not a real poop. Nobody ever proved it was Maddie. And from that day on, if a poop showed up, they made sure to check if it was real before practice was canceled. But for that day, she got half the practice off. And she was so proud of herself. It's 2 weeks till senior graduation. That kid decides he's gonna pull a prank that nobody will ever forget. Most senior pranks involve balloons, sticky notes, baby oil. Well, this dude somehow gets his hands on an actual beehive. It was in my backyard. I put it in the trash bag. And his genius plan is to bring it to school and release it. Okay, well, that's actually so dangerous. Like, I'm trying to figure out what the punchline's supposed to be here. Kid with a bee allergy having to be taken to the hospital? Who knows? He ties up the garbage bag that the beehive's in and he throws it over his shoulder. And he gets on the bus, mister. He's thrown on the bus, everything's fine at first. Then a kid noticed a bee. Oh God, there's a bee in here. Then there was another one. Oh God, there's another bee in here. Then another, then another, then another. The senior kid is like, oh my God. The bees had buzzed their way through this garbage bag. And now the beehive is open. The next 30 seconds were complete and utter craziness. Kids screaming, people hiding underneath the bus seats, but everybody was getting stung. And yes, there were kids in the bus that were allergic to bees, and yes, they had to go to the hospital. The funny part is, when the bus driver first noticed all these bees, he put the bus in park and left the bus. But then he realized he's in charge of these kids. I gotta go back. And he drives the bus to a nearby hospital, and they take it from there. But they found out who brought the beehive in, and he wasn't able to graduate. But that makes sense, because what a dumb prank. No chewing gum in my class. Ah, rats. Marcus gets caught chewing gum by one of the super strict teachers. Marcus, spit it out. Now, most people would just take their gum and walk it to the trash can. But not Marcus. He's too cool for that. So he takes the gum out, he stands up slowly, he looks at the garbage can across the room. Watch this. Whole class locks in, trying to see if he's gonna make the shot. He launches it. Perfect arc. It's going. The very last second, the gum curves and gets stuck in the quiet kid's hair. Everybody's horrified. They're waiting for this quiet kid to freak out. But the kid never talks and he barely even reacts to this. He slowly reaches up. He touches the gum. It's not coming out easy. It's stuck in there pretty good. Then he calmly opens his backpack and pulls out a pair of scissors. And without saying a single word, he just cuts that chunk of gum right out of his hair. He sets the gum on his desk, puts the scissors back in his backpack, zips it up, and then he puts the hairy wad of gum in his mouth and starts chewing it. Goes right back to taking notes. The strict teacher's like, you know what? He can chew it. I'm not dealing with that. Yeah, that kid's pretty weird. The pepperoni pizza's been eaten. How is that possible? It started with pizza. On pizza days, this cafeteria made only like 30 slices of pepperoni pizza. And when it was gone, it was gone. No backup, no mercy. And there was this one kid, let's call him Darren. He lived for that pizza. Yo, I live for that pizza. He would sprint to lunch every single pizza day just to make sure he gets it. Oh, yes. But one pizza day, he got to lunch a little late. And when he got to the front of the line, it's gone? Oh, man. Just cheese left. He was mad, but he held it in. The next pizza day, he left for lunch even earlier. He was jogging to the cafeteria, practically. I'm gonna get it this time. And again, gone. 2 pizza days in a row, gone before he even got there. On the next pizza day, just as the lunch bell was ringing, the fire alarm went off. The whole school evacuated. They were pretty sure it was a standard fire drill. It took about 30 minutes to clear. All right, single file line, everybody out of the school. Just a drill. Come on. Now, like I said, this happened right before lunch even started. But when they came back in, the lunch ladies noticed that somebody ate the pepperoni pizza. How was that possible? The pepperoni tray was supposed to be sealed. The full pan, it was half gone. Well, they were obviously super curious as to where this pizza went, so they checked the cameras. Darren, in the cafeteria alone, helping himself to a tray of pepperoni while the entire school was outside. The footage had a timestamp, 12:02. That's 2 minutes after the fire alarm went off. He was suspended on the spot, and there were rumors about legal charges. But nobody knows what really happened because the kid actually never came back to that school. All we know is Darren got his pizza. But at what cost? There was a kid at school named Max, and they called Max the raccoon. Yo, what's up? Because Max could find furniture anywhere. Didn't matter what it was. Gaming chairs, mini fridges, lamps, half a trampoline one time. And whenever someone asked where he got it, he would always say, the curb, or garbage can behind Jewel. Now behind the school was this tiny little forest area that students were technically banned from going into, which obviously made kids want to go in there more. But one day, Max decides, I'm gonna build a hangout in the woods. So at first, he drags out 2 lawn chairs and a milk crate. Then the next week, there's a couch and a rug. Then somehow, a standing lamp connected to a generator. Every day after school, this dude is dragging more and more furniture out to this hangout spot, and it's looking awesome. And kids began to hang out there every day. Portable speakers, Uno games, snacks, the mini fridge. By springtime, there was multiple couches, Christmas lights. It was a complete vibe. People would literally say, hey, you going to Max's place later? And by that, they meant the woods. Teachers had no idea this existed until one day a janitor went back there and discovered what looked like a fully furnished living room hidden behind the school in a patch of trees. He gets the principal walks back there. What is... Oh my god. He had everything removed, but he did say, that's impressive. And it was impressive. I hate braces. Mikey got braces right before freshman year, and he really didn't want anybody to notice. So the whole summer, this dude's in the mirror practicing, smiling with his lips closed, talking differently. Hi, my name's Mikey, how are you? Laughing without showing teeth. Fully rehearsing these facial expressions. First day of school, he thinks he's got it under control. Then English class happens. Also, Mikey's mouth was messed up. He had those rubber bands in different places. Well, the teacher asks a question, calls on Mikey. So Mikey, what do you think they did with all the cows? And Mikey responds something that made himself laugh. They made milk. He smiles big, his braces are showing, but one of those rubber bands that he has connected to his braces comes loose and just straight to the front of the room. Right into the teacher's eye. What was that? Oh no! It came out of Mikey's mouth. It was so unfortunate. Mikey was in the front row. Truly a freak accident, but Mikey was bullied for like a month. Poor guy. Today, we simulate chaos. There was this one day at this one middle school where the principal made a huge deal about this upcoming assembly. It was a full school event, mandatory attendance. And apparently, they'd be reviewing emergency protocols. So everybody thought it was going to be a boring fire drill type situation, or one of those lockdown walkthroughs. But no. It was way, way different. When the students got into the gym, the lights were off. A fog machine was going and the janitor was standing there in firefighter gear, just waiting. That's when the principal grabbed the mic and said, "Today, we simulate chaos." And suddenly alarms started blaring. Kids were screaming. There were strobe lights going off. What is going on? One kid in a wheelchair started spinning himself in circles, screaming, "Every man for himself! Every man for himself!" Another kid was climbing the bleachers, people were running outside the school, and somebody's shoes ended up in the rafters, which to this day they have no idea how that even happened. Well, it turns out the entire thing was the principal's idea. He said the best way to prepare for an emergency was to be surprised by one, and he put this whole thing together. Apparently, he was really excited about it. It was so crazy and nobody knew what was happening that one teacher passed out, students were huddled together praying, and by the end of it, the janitor just stood on the stage saluting the students like they had just survived a real disaster. Nice! Good work, team! The next week, the school board banned all unauthorized drills. So yeah, they were supposed to learn what to do in an emergency. Instead, they learned what happens when a principal goes completely off script. It's kinda legendary though, I'm not gonna lie. This family thought, chairs make you lazy. So they were forced to always stand when they were eating. Breakfast, standing at the counter. Lunch, standing around the island. Dinner, standing around the table with the entire family. And they were supposed to eat fast. They were trying to be efficient, I guess. Once they were done, they would clean their plates and they would move on. Well, this kid grew up this way and he never questioned it. Why would he? That's how he thought meals worked. Then he's at his friend's house for dinner one night. And he's confused. He's standing there. The dad's like, you can sit down, buddy. What are you doing? Oh, okay. So he sits, and they talk, they laugh, they linger, and they eat their food at their own pace. He's like amazed. You good, bro? Yeah, this is just different. In a good way. He realized that his family was the weird one. Like a lot of these stories, this happens. After dinner, he goes back home and he goes to his room and cries because, what? He's been standing for every single meal, eating as fast as he can, being super stressed out because his parents are crazy. But actually, you can just sit there and enjoy your food and be with people and laugh. For the first time in his life, he was relaxed during a meal, and that meant a lot to him. Now, it's years later, and sometimes when he's stressed, he finds himself standing and eating, but he always tries to breathe, take a seat, and just enjoy those dang potatoes. You didn't even look at the slides? Nope. Bro, we're gonna fail! So there was this one group project in 8th grade that counted for 25% of the final grade. Like it was a serious end-of-the-year multi-slide, multi-day situation here. And this one group had 3 kids that really cared. And then there was Jeff. Jeff did nothing. Didn't come to the prep meetings, didn't contribute to the slides, didn't even open the Google Doc. All he said was, just tell me what I need to say. And they tried. They gave him a script. He didn't look at it. He didn't practice. Didn't even show up to the final rehearsal that they were doing. Fast forward to presentation day. Everyone's in their best outfits. Posters were ready. The slides were cued. And 30 seconds before their group is called, Jeff walks into class like he had just woken up. Hey, what's up, guys? The group is panicking. One kid tells him, "Are you kidding me right now, dude? You know what, just stand there, okay? Don't say anything, don't mess this up for us." They get up front. Everyone is nervous. And then out of nowhere, Jeff starts talking. No slides, no notes, just straight off the dome. Our project explores the intersection of environmental policy and youth activism, and we believe change happens locally. The teacher's face lit up. The group, they were stunned. And by the time Jeff was done, people were clapping. They clapped. They got an A+, perfect score. And as soon as they sit back down, Jeff leans over and says, "I told you I'd come through." After that, nobody trusted Jeff, but everybody remembered that presentation. And even the teacher brought it up the next year. But it's crazy because with zero prep, zero effort, and zero teamwork, Jeff gave the best speech in the class, and nobody could explain it. His name was Frog Boy, and he was the weird kid at this one school. Froggy, Puggy Wuggy. Every single day before class, he would be in the woods behind the school, catching frogs, lizards, and raising tadpoles in a Home Depot bucket. Grow, little tadpoles. Grow into frogs. And every day he would walk into class smelling like pond water. Yo, Frog Boy smells extra froggy today. But in class, he would have so much pent-up energy. He couldn't sit still, and every single teacher knew this. Kevin, why don't you go take a lap around the school, okay? Okay. They would often let him leave school and run around the building and come back to tire himself out. In different classes, other kids would be doing math, and they would look out the window to see Frog Boy running by. 2 + 2 is 6. He would also just do crazy stuff. Like one week, he super glued all the woodshop tools to the wall. It's a masterpiece. My tools! Another week, he went into the kitchen and spread flour everywhere. Looks like it snowed in here. My kitchen! And it was like that for a long time. Well, fast forward years later. One of his old classmates is at home scrolling through his phone when he stumbles on a viral motocross clip. Yo, that's sick. It's a clip of a guy on a dirt bike going off this huge ramp and doing a backflip. That's when the old classmate realizes, wait, that's frickin' Frog Boy! Frog Boy was now a professional motocross rider, and he was very rich. I'm just happy he used his energy for something awesome like that. Hey, go Frog Boy. There was a school in Florida that tried to monetize the bathroom. It's so messed up. They gave every student 3 restroom credits a month, and if you ran out, each additional restroom credit was $5 each. This is insane. The principal called it time management training, which didn't make any sense. It's more like a human rights violation. Well, that's when a student named Marcus, what's up, realized that the school just created the most valuable currency on campus. Okay, I got 2 credits left. I'll trade them for your pre-calc answers and your lunch. Okay, cool, yeah, deal. Marcus became this bladder broker of sorts. Hey bro, you never pee, right? No, just once before school and once at night. I'll buy your credits off you. He would either trade these credits or sell them to students who were having an emergency for a massive markup. Now the crazy part is, he began trading, buying, and selling these credits very obviously in front of teachers in the hallway because his plan was to get caught. So when the principal did catch on, Marcus, I know what you're doing. Oh, you do you? You cannot be trading, buying, or selling these bathroom credits. Well, what are you gonna do about it, huh? Oh, well, you're gonna get in big trouble. No, you're not, because listen up. You got a few options here. You can punish me, but then I'll go to the school board, tell them that you're charging students $5 to use the bathroom. Or you can let me continue and do nothing about it. Or your last and honestly best option, get rid of the credit system. It's a human rights violation, you frickin' idiot. Out of my office now. By the next morning, the bathroom credit system was gone. And honestly, it was all thanks to Marcus. This kid had a fish allergy, and he always told his mom, "Mom, I can't eat fish, I'm allergic." And he's not like die allergic, but if he has fish, he'll get sick. Headaches, vomiting, but his mom refuses to believe him. No, you're not. Eat the fish. She would force him to eat the fish, saying that he's not allergic, and then when he does eat it and gets sick, she gets annoyed. Oh my God, you're dramatic. Clean up after yourself. Well, one night, the mom's hosting a big dinner party. This kid is 9 years old. Everybody's eating. His mom hands him a fish fillet in front of all the guests. Here you go, sweetie, eat this. Let me know how it is. Mom, I told you I can't eat fish. That's not true. That's not true, everybody. Eat the fish. That's when the kid realized, okay, I'm gonna eat the fish. He eats the fish. Everybody's watching. 10 minutes later, he walks back into the kitchen. Oh, did you like the fish? You want more, I bet, huh? No, Mom, pukes all over the mom and the table. The guests are shocked. Oh my God, clean up an aisle fish. Milk. Now you can see it in the mom's face. She wants to explode. Kid's like, do it, Mom. Everyone will see who you really are. But the mom can't. Not in front of all her guests. So she flips. Oh, my poor baby. I think you are allergic to fish. Let me go put you to bed. She then takes him upstairs and tucks him in and joins the party again. And from that day on, she never made him eat fish ever again. Hey, kid's a genius. Younger siblings, am I right? This guy had a younger brother, and his younger brother always won. Didn't matter what happened. If they fought, he would get blamed. If thing broke, he would get blamed. Parents always hit him with, you're older. You should know better. The younger brother figured this out fast, so he started using it to his advantage. He would start trouble, poking at him, annoying and messing with his stuff. Second the older brother reacted, dude, get out of here, what's your problem? He would just scream, Mom! And then the older brother gets in trouble over and over and over again. So eventually this kid decides, all right, that's enough, because no matter what happens, he gets punished. So he's at least gonna get a little bit of revenge. He waited until nighttime and he went into the bathroom that he shares with his little brother. He takes the toothbrush and he puts soap all inside the bristles. He then lets it kind of dry and puts it back in the cabinet. Well, when his brother brushed his teeth that night, it tastes weird. He's spitting toothpaste everywhere, but his parents are annoyed. They're like, dude, just brush your teeth. Quit being a baby. Your toothbrush is fine. It's normal toothpaste. No, I can't. It's disgusting. Stop being dramatic. And yes, it was simple, but the noise of his brother getting yelled at, even for something so stupid as that, made him happy. This makes me happy. And he slept well that night. You're trying to ruin my life. Ow. Jake genuinely believed his cat was ruining his life on purpose. Her name was Mildred, and he thought his cat had one mission: to destroy his social life. Because Mildred would pee on everything. His laundry, his backpack. One time, she went into his closet and tore up a bunch of his clothes. Everything is ripped! And the worst part was she wasn't even sick. He thought maybe she's acting out because there's something wrong with her, so he took her to the vet, but the vet's like, she seems incredibly healthy. Meanwhile, Jake's showing up to school smelling like cat urine. Dude, what does that smell? Oh, that's just Jake. What the heck? Jake knew it was Mildred's fault. Then it started escalating. She was pooping in his shoes, sleeping on folded clothes right after they were washed, so everything he wore was covered in hair. For years, Jake thought, this animal hates me. Fast forward 15 years, Jake is grown now. He's got long hair and he's living in an apartment by himself, and he still has that cat Mildred. One day, he's sitting on the couch watching TV. He looks down and there's Mildred. She's very old now, and she's huge, curled up in a ball right next to him. She's obsessed with being near him in every second, and one day it clicks. She just wanted me all to herself. Now, maybe that's true, maybe it's not, but all he knows is that 15 years later, he loves that cat more than anything. She loves him. It's kind of sad and beautiful. School prank gone seriously wrong, or right. This was back in 1979. Somebody glued all of the locks on all of the doors in this one high school. The teachers show up. They can't open their doors. What the heck is going on? Keys won't even go in. They couldn't even get into the supply closets because those were also glued. Within 20 minutes, the whole building is in absolute chaos. Janitors are trying solvent. Teachers are trying to pick away at the glue. Students just standing around watching this all unfold. Eventually, the principal actually canceled school. School is canceled until further notice, students. Now, here's the thing. This all happened during the nicest week of the year. It was sunny, warm. Everyone wanted to be outside. So instead of being upset, obviously the students were like, all right, days off. We're going to the pool. Yabo. They were tanning, they were listening to music. Because it's the 70s, nobody can text, nobody can call, so they're calling each other. Are we still off school? Is school still canceled? Then they find out from the principal that prom is canceled until whoever did this comes forward. Still, nobody talks at first. 3 full days go by before the school actually replaces the locks. Then eventually, the kid that did this admitted to it. It was me. He gets expelled immediately. School's back in session. Prom is not canceled. But here's the thing. Nobody was mad at him. The students actually loved him for it because right before prom, they got a few days off to go to the pool and get their tans on to be tanned for prom. It was a perfect situation. And that sounds awesome. Whatever you do, be cool. Dominic spent the entire summer preparing for middle school. He studied the map and he memorized hallways. He wanted to know where he was going because his one goal was he didn't want to look like a lost 6th grader on the first day. So the morning comes, he's got his backpack on and he's nervous. I'm nervous, but I'm ready. First class of the day is Spanish. And the Spanish class is all the way down in the 8th grade hallway, which already feels terrifying. So he's walking through and there's older kids everywhere. And when you're in 6th grade, the 8th graders seem huge. He's walking down the hallway. He's feeling good. He's acting acting cool. Then he sees a group of older girls, and his confidence kind of takes over. These girls have perfect hair. They're laughing, they're leaning on their lockers. So I told them, get lost. That's an insane thing to say. Did he cry? He decides to try to play it cool. He says hi to the girls, smiles at them, and winks. Ladies? But because he was focused entirely on trying to impress these girls, he didn't see what was right in front of him. A janitor, the janitor's cart, and the janitor mopping up someone's vomit. He runs into the janitor, he slips on the vomit, and he falls into the big trash can that's on the janitor's cart. Oh, loser! He climbs out of that trash can as fast as he can and he runs to that Spanish class. And all that effort trying to look cool, not seem weird, failed. Because for the rest of the year, he was known as Puke Boy. That's unfortunate. She got the question right. No, she didn't. This girl comes home from elementary school one day. She's genuinely upset over one quiz question that she got wrong. I wrote here that a tomato is a fruit. Sweetheart, a tomato is a fruit. You got that question right. And yeah, a tomato is scientifically a fruit. End of discussion. So the dad writes a note to the teacher. Hi, my daughter got this question wrong, but technically she is correct. A tomato is indeed a fruit. Thank you. The next day, his daughter comes home. Hey, Dad, she wrote you back. This is what the note said. She writes this. While a tomato is technically a fruit, because it is used like a vegetable, we are teaching students that it is a vegetable. That makes no sense. That makes no sense. The dad's just sitting there for a second, like, you're literally purposefully teaching students the wrong thing. A couple weeks later, that school has an open house. All the parents are invited, and that teacher is there. He walks up to her. Hi, I'm Mr. Johnson. Hi. So, what other completely false things are you teaching my daughter? She was stunned. Have a good night. Honestly, that makes no sense. Hey, Mrs. Stevens, Johnny's my best friend. Yay. No, the heck he's not. This school had one of the weirdest rules ever. Nobody's allowed to have a best friend. I mean, I guess it wasn't officially, but every single time, if two kids got too close, teacher would step in and separate them. At first, nobody notices the pattern, but if a teacher sees these two students sitting by each other every day, you, come here. What'd I do? You're not sitting by Johnny anymore. Their desks get moved. The kids are laughing together too much. I think you two need some space. And everyone's like, why does this keep happening? But it gets worse. I guess teachers start clocking who was friends with who, and during recess, they send them out separately. Okay, Billy, you go first, okay? You stay here. Not until Billy's done. You guys are not hanging out together. Teachers are trying to stop kids from getting too attached. This was their logic. If kids had a close friend, they wouldn't socialize with other people. So instead of letting friendships happen naturally, they treated it like a freaking problem. To me, it's messed up. He was a kid, his mom dragged him to the nearest 7-Eleven. I don't want to go. Well, that's too bad. Well, they get there, she goes in the store, but he waits outside. He then sees this older, strange-looking guy sitting against a wall. Hey, want to see something cool? And he's a kid, so he said yes. Of course he wants to see something cool, which you should never do. The man then smiles, and then pulls off a prosthetic leg and showed this kid his leg stump. Look at this. The leg stump had a very weird smiley face drawn on it in Sharpie. The kid absolutely freaks out. That's not cool. The man then panics because I guess he had good intentions. Oh, no, wait, look, it's actually cool, look. The kid's now ugly crying, the mom runs out of the store. What's going on? His leg. The man's embarrassed, the mom's freaking out at him. I don't know why he showed the kid his leg stump anyway, but she went home with her kid. And years later, when he sees a 7-Eleven, he freaks out a little bit still. Hey Johnny, come to the bonfire next week. Awesome. Johnny was invited to one of the popular kids' bonfires, and this was a big moment for him. He was hyped. He decided he wanted to be the bonfire guitar guy. You know, the guy that would sit by the fire and play songs and everyone tells him how cool he is. So he buys a guitar with money from his first job. He spends that entire week practicing. Okay. Huh. Not too bad. They're gonna love this. Fingers shredding, watching tutorials. He's pretty decent. Kind of a natural. And finally, it's the big bonfire night. Like 20 kids there. They're all sitting around. Johnny brought his guitar. He sees his opportunity. Hey, you guys mind if I play a song for you? All right, man. Yeah, go for it. Okay, Johnny. Yeah, play us a song. So he starts playing, and he's actually killing it. Whoa, he's pretty good. Yeah, he is. People are impressed. Then he gets a little too confident. Starts going a little crazier. Fully dramatic rock star mode when all of a sudden, snap! One of the strings breaks and flies up and whips him right in the eye. And in a pure moment of panic, he just throws the guitar off him. Everyone goes silent. Johnny gets his composure. He realizes there's way too many people here for him to be freaking out. He's gonna look like a loser. But when he opens his eyes, he realizes he threw his guitar into the bonfire. And now the guitar is burning like firewood. No one said a word for about 30 minutes. They just sat around that fire warming themselves up with Johnny's guitar he bought to impress everybody. He never lived that down, and he wasted $200 on that guitar. That's nuts.
Weird things teachers made students do. One day in 6th grade, this kid got to his math class before everybody else. It was just him and the teacher for a few minutes, and he was kind of anxious. So he was sitting there kind of jittery, but minding his own business. The teacher then noticed he was jittery, and this is what she did. Hi, I want you to stand up right now, please. Okay. Now I want you to dance. Just dance right there in your spot. Just dance. What do you mean? Start dancing. Can you at least put some music on or something for me? No. And so he stood there and he was dancing. He had no idea why he was doing this, but students were walking down the hall looking at him so weird. What the heck? Can I please stop dancing now? No! And then finally the bell rang. Okay, now you can stop. Thanks. He told his parents what happened and they were super pissed. His mom went to the school the next day and chewed this teacher out in front of the principal.
Dumbest things people got in trouble for at school. In middle school, this kid's grandma had just passed away, and it was his first day back after the funeral. This is kind of what happened. Did everyone turn their homework in? I only count 17. And there's 20 of us, so who didn't turn their homework in? I didn't. And why didn't you turn it in, Kyle? Did you even do it? You should know this. My grandma just died and I was at her funeral over the weekend. I'm sorry, but I wasn't thinking about homework. Well, that's a shame, Kyle. I'm giving you a 0 for the entire week. Are you dead, Kyle? No. Homework is more important than funerals, as long as you're alive. Well, that pissed him off, and he lost his mind. You are an absolute... My grandma just died. She was my favorite person in the entire world, and I was at her funeral over the weekend, and now you're punishing me for not doing some stupid math assignment? Screw you! I wish you died instead of my grandma. That's it! Go to the office right now. Good heavens. He explained what happened to school administration, but nobody cared. He was suspended for a week. When this kid was in 5th grade, his teacher had one really strict rule. She never repeated herself. She would explain things once, and if you didn't hear it, well, too bad. Well, one day, the class was working on a really big assignment that was due the next day. The teacher stood up and said, "All right, listen up, I'm only saying this once." Then she explained the instructions in one long, fast speech. The second she was done, this kid, let's call him Ralph, raised his hand. "Excuse me, can you just repeat that last part, please?" "Ralph, what's the rule?" You don't repeat yourself?" "Exactly, so figure it out." A few minutes later, Ralph was tapped in the shoulder by one of his classmates. "Hey, I got you, man. I wrote all of it down. Here." He took the notes, relieved, super thankful, and he started copying them down on his own piece of paper. And he thought that was the end of it, but it wasn't. The teacher came over and snatched the notes off his desk. "Absolutely not. If you didn't listen the first time, that's your problem." "Are you kidding me?" Well, Jake just sat there silent, didn't say a word. The next day, the class turned in that assignment that was due. Once the teacher was done grading it, she said, "You didn't turn anything in." "Yeah, because I didn't hear the instructions." "Well, that's a 0. And you're a..." "What did you say?" "You heard me." "No, what did you say?" "I'm sorry, miss. I don't repeat myself." I mean, it was crazy, but it kind of worked because from that day on, the teacher went easy on Ralph, and she even let him do that assignment over again. One day in middle school, this kid was in math class, completely bored out of his mind. So instead of reviewing the packet he was given, he was doodling a picture in his notebook. He was sketching a cartoon of that teacher. Weird haircut, holding a ruler like it's a sword. I mean, it was kind of brutal, but it was funny. Well, suddenly the teacher walks by and she sees it. "Is this supposed to be me?" "No." She snatches the paper, holds it up like it's evidence. "Think this is funny? Office, now." He's like, "Yep, I'm done for. Detention for sure." He walks down to the principal's office, nervous. He gets in there and he hands the principal the picture that he drew of his teacher, expecting the worst. The principal stares at it, silent for a second, and then... he bursts out laughing. Okay. All right, first of all, man, this is spot on. Kudos to you. Second of all, I've been telling her to fix her hair for 3 years. Really? Oh yeah. Hey, pass me that red marker. Okay. He takes the red marker and draws flames behind her in the picture. Boom. Now it's art. I'm gonna keep this, all right? For me. Go to class, man. You're good. Oh. All right. No detention, no punishment, just a really cool interaction with a super cool principal. That's awesome. Now, this principal had a secret. This person said that back in 8th grade, there was a principal named Mr. Reynolds, and Mr. Reynolds was way too intense. He had this whole no phones in school rule, but he took it to a weird level. If he even saw the outline of your phone in your pocket, he would stop you in the hallway. Hey, give it to me. No, I'm not even using it. Doesn't matter, you know the rules. And the worst part, he'd keep it locked in his office until the end of the day. And if it was like the 3rd or 4th time he had to take your phone away from you, your parents would have to come in and get it. So absolutely just crazy. Well, this one girl, let's call her Ashley. She had had enough. He took her phone one day for checking the time during lunch. Hey, give me that! I'm literally checking the time. You know the rules. So the next day, she told her older brother, who was already graduated but still had friends at the school. And he came up with a plan. Got you, sis. That weekend, Ashley's brother made a fake email address, pretending to be from the school's IT department. And he sent an email to the school board, saying there was suspicious activity coming from the principal's computer. Send. Take that, Mr. Reynolds. Now, he was just trying to make Mr. Reynolds' life a living hell. He didn't think anything of it, really. Just to mess with him real bad. But on Monday, an actual person from the school district showed up at that school. Turns out, Mr. Reynolds had a handful of students' phones backed up on his computer. He found out how to bypass passcodes, and some of them didn't even have passcodes, so he was just uploading stuff to his computer. Text messages, photos, everything. A complete invasion of privacy and super, super creepy. And he was fired on the spot. So Ashley's brother, trying to prank the principal, turned out to be something that actually needed to happen. This dude was messed up. No goodbyes, just walked out the building while the students watched. Get a life, loser! Screw you, Mr. Reynolds! You're a freaking creep! Bye! Ashley got her phone back, and the students got a principal that actually cared about them. A secret he'll take to the grave. When this guy was a kid, his school had this huge field day event that they did every single year. Basically, on this day, students were free to roam around the school, there were games, prizes, it was incredible. Everyone looked forward to it, but one year, everything changed. On field day, he was grabbing some lunch in the cafeteria. He was messing around with a friend when they saw a little basket of butter packets. He picked it up, put it on the floor, and stepped on it. Well, when he stepped on it, the packet popped, and the butter shot across the lunchroom like a rocket, sliding on the floor. Dude, that was sick! Let's do it again. They kept stepping on these butter packets one after another, launching the butter across the floor and giggling to themselves. Hee hee hee, this is so fun. Right? Well, apparently all this butter had accumulated some feet in front of them in this kind of butter pile. And a teacher who was carrying a tray ended up walking right over it. I love field day. This is a great thing. He crashed down hard and his tray of food went everywhere. Another teacher ran over. Oh my God, are you okay? No, I'm not okay. He was not okay. Something was seriously wrong. An ambulance was called and he was shipped out. Well, apparently this teacher was injured really, really badly. It was serious. Field day was shut down then and there. And the next day, the principal got on the intercom. Attention students! Due to an unfortunate incident, field day will be canceled indefinitely. We are launching an investigation into the events of yesterday's lunch. And that's when it hit him. Because of their stupid butter pack launching lunchtime, field day was canceled. What does that mean for next year? Well, I'll tell you what it means. There wasn't a field day next year. Or the year after that. He was never caught for what he did. And I guess the cameras in the lunchroom didn't pick up on this at all. This story's hilarious. When this girl was little, for some reason, she thought sneezing was hilarious. The scene in Beauty and the Beast where Belle's dad sneezes in his workshop and dust flies everywhere, she loved it. She would rewind it and watch it over and over again. Well, one day, when she was in kindergarten, she somehow found out that a student who was in first grade was very allergic to pollen. So she had an idea. Every day at recess, she would go outside, pick a handful of dandelions, and chase her around the playground. Come here, come here. No. And when she would get close enough, she would shove the dandelions in this girl's face.
Well, it got to a point where one day at recess, she was chasing her around with dandelions as usual. But this time, the reaction was more than a sneeze. She was sent to the hospital. And from that day on, whenever she wanted to watch someone sneeze, she would just go on YouTube.
Luke goes over to his friend Brad's house for the first time, and right away he can see that the family's pretty strange. This family's pretty strange. Nothing huge, just weird energy. The mom and dad are kinda weird, and the friend Brad keeps saying, "Hey, whatever you do, bro, do not sit in my dad's chair." Okay, I won't. They hang out all night playing video games, eating junk food, doing normal sleepover stuff. Eventually they go to bed. Then around like 2 in the morning, Luke wakes up to go to the bathroom. The house is completely dark and quiet. He walks into the hallway half asleep. Then he hears something moving downstairs. Like scratching noises. So he looks down into the living room and he is shook. I'm shook. Because Brad's dad is crawling around on all fours. A full-grown man moving slowly around the carpet like a cat. Meow. But then it gets worse. The dad then jumps onto the chair, turned towards the family cat, and begins to lick the cat's head. He's grooming his cat. And the cat's just sitting there like, yep, this is normal. Luke said his brain just completely shut down. He ran out of that house, ran 2 blocks away, called his mom, and his mom came to pick him up. He never went to that house or talked to Luke ever again after that. Oh, that's insane. This family thought chairs make you lazy. So they were forced to always stand when they were eating. Breakfast, standing at the counter. Lunch, standing around the island. Dinner, standing around the table with the entire family. And they were supposed to eat fast. They were trying to be efficient, I guess. Once they were done, they would clean their plates and they would move on. Well, this kid grew up this way and he never questioned it. Why would he? That's how he thought meals worked. Then he's at his friend's house for dinner one night. And he's confused. He's standing there. The dad's like, you can sit down, buddy. What are you doing? Oh, okay. So he sits, and they talk, they laugh, they linger, and they eat their food at their own pace. He's like amazed. You good, bro? Yeah, this is just different. In a good way. He realized that his family was the weird one. Like a lot of these stories, this happens. After dinner, he goes back home, and he goes to his room and cries because what? He's been standing for every single meal, eating as fast as he can, being super stressed out because his parents are crazy. But actually, you can just sit there and enjoy your food and be with people and laugh. For the first time in his life, he was relaxed during a meal, and that meant a lot to him. Now, it's years later, and sometimes when he's stressed, he finds himself standing and eating, but he always tries to breathe, take a seat, and just enjoy those dang potatoes. This guy went to a friend's house for dinner. Everything was chill until the milk came out. It was a really big family. They were at the table, it was loud. Every single person there gets a glass of milk. And milk for you, 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 milk for me. Bruh. Well, then it starts getting weird. The daddy reaches over and grabs his son's milk. Hey son, let me see your cup. I'm done with mine. And he pours his leftover milk into his son's cup. Then the mom decides she's done with her milk. So she pours her milk into her daughter's cup. And this just keeps going. When everyone decides they're done drinking milk, they pour it into somebody else's cup. So like milky backwash just rotating through everybody. Now the guest, he's just like, what is going on here? If someone finishes their milk and they want more, I want some more milk, mom. Oh, that's perfect. I'm done with mine. I'll give you it. She just pours it into his cup. At this house, milk does not get wasted. It does not get poured down the sink. It gets recycled. And if everybody at the table is done with their milk, but there's still milk in the cups, they pour that milk back in the carton. And my friends, that is absolutely disgusting. She's on her first date at this guy's place, and he's cooking dinner. What's for dinner? Food. Now his place has this rustic cabin vibe. Wooden floors, dim lights. There's a weird smell that she noticed, but she thinks it's just an old house. I'm noticing a weird smell. It's probably because it's an old house. Well, at that moment, this guy's dog walks into the room and just unloads a 30-second pee right in the middle of the floor. She's trying to get his attention. Stop. No, your dog he's peeing. He doesn't turn around, he just says, oh yeah, he does that sometimes. Well, then she asks if there's a towel she can help him clean up the pee. Since you're cooking, I can clean it up. But he says this, nah, you can just leave it. I'll spray some Febreze on it later, let it dry by itself. And that's when it hits her. The smell wasn't the cabin. That soft spot on the floor wasn't just old wood. It was the dog's bathroom. And dogs sometimes pee inside, but he never cleaned his dog's pee up. He just put Febreze on it. She politely sat there and ate dinner. Then she leaves and never texts him ever again. That's nasty. In elementary school, this guy had one friend. I have one friend. It's me. But the thing is, this kid got bullied a lot. So whenever his friend hung out with him at school, his friend would also get bullied. Dude, whenever I hang out with you, your bully also bullies me. I know, I'm sorry. So they made a rule. They wouldn't hang out at school. They wouldn't hang out at recess. They weren't friends in class. They only hung out after school where nobody could see them. That's messed up. So at school, this kid was pretty much alone. Well, one day during recess, a popular kid asked him if he wanted to kick a ball around. Hey bro, you want to play kickball with me? Sure. This was completely out of nowhere. He was shocked. This never happened to him. Well, they started actually having fun. That's when the popular kid said this. Dude, this is fun, man. You're not as bad as your friend says you are. What? Turns out that kid's friend was bullying him behind his back, starting bad rumors about how bad of a guy he was, being a complete two-faced jerk. He stopped talking to his friend altogether, even after school. And he actually became pretty good friends with the popular guy. Hey, what's up, Carl? Bro, leave us alone, man. We're having a conversation. Yeah, jerk. What a horrible friend. After class one day, a teacher tells him, tomorrow I need you to come to my office hours. Oh, like right after school? Yes. And he's actually excited. At home, he tells his mom, I got a thing for class tomorrow after school. He tells her it's office hours, and he thinks it's a party. Ooh, office hours, that sounds fun. Let's go to Costco, we'll have you get some cookies to bring. So they go to Costco, she buys some cookies, chips, some plates. Next day after school, he's walking down the hallway with a plastic bag full of these snacks, and he's excited. He knocks on the teacher's door, smiling, and he goes in. I didn't know how many people were coming, so I brought extra. What? She looks at the food, looks at him. What are you talking about? Office hours. She closes the door quietly and says, we're here to talk about your failing grade. It's not a party? No. He sits down, defeated. He talks to the teacher and they have a plan to fix his failing grade. And as he's about to leave, all right, well, thanks. I guess I should go do my homework. Wait, I can't let you waste all the food. Let's bring out the cookies and the chips. Let's have a little party, just us two. Okay. And for the next 15 minutes, they sat there and ate cookies and chips and just chatted like two human beings. And then he went on his way. Hey, actually, that's a good teacher.
আসতে বলবো না সেটা আমার একটু জরুরি কথা আছে
বাবা
ভাই আমি তো এলাকা ছাড়ার আগে
তুমি একটা গিরাট্টুকটা ছেলে, যেই ছেলে
তানিয়া আমার পিস্তলটা নিয়ে আয় তো।
টাকা কি দুধটা রাইখে গেলাম গো
মাত্র সে ফেসবুকে স্ট্যাটাস দিয়েছে সে একটি অনাথ বাচ্চাকে
কত স্যাক্রিফাইস করছি এলাকার বড় ভাই থেকে রিকশা চালক হয়ে গেলাম আর সেটাই করব যে গরম না আর এই বড় ভাই তোর মায়ের চিকিৎসার দায়িত্ব নিছে সেলিম ভাই ভালোবাসার লেগে জেল খাটছিল ভাই আপনি যত কথাই
এই বাড়িতে ওই বদমাইশটার কথা একবারও ভুলে উচ্চারণ করবা না।
ভাই মিনিমাম আপনি 17 লাইনের একটা কবিতা লেখেন। 17 লাইনের কবিতাটা
কিন্তু ছাপাই না সব মাথার ভিতরে থাকে যখন পড়তে ইচ্ছা করে মাথা আমি জানো ওরে বাপ করে দেব আর আমি কি কমো জানো তবু তানিয়া আমি বলাবো কেমনে বেটা কস না কেন বেটা
এটা পড়ে আপনার প্রেমে পুরো উত্তরে পড়ে যাবো গা। আর উত্তর আপনি পারবেন ভাই, আপনি পারবেন।
ও 700 লাইন লিখবো আর বাদ বাকি 300 লাইন আমি লেখা বললাম
একটু নামিয়ে দাও, মানে ও ছাড়া পাক না পাক তাতে আমাদের কি।
এলাকার কি অবস্থা রে ঝুলে?
এই তো ভাই ভালো সবকিছু।
ভাই স্কুলগুলো আমরা অনেকক্ষণ ধরে আপনার লেখা রয়েছে, ঝুলি কিন্তু চিন্তা করে লেগেছে ভাই।
হ ভাই আমিও সেইটাই কই। মানে ওর মাইয়া তানিয়া নিজের কি মনে করে কিচ্ছু বুঝি না। ওকে আমার থেকে দেখতে বেশি সুন্দর।
আবার আসবো স্যার। আগে আপনার বাসায় আসতে গেলে পা কাঁপতো, এখন আর পা কাঁপে না। কবিতা লিখতে হইব, কয় লাইন লেখছস দে, নাহলে কিন্তু আমি তোকে পিটামু দে।
লাগবে হইব না ভাই, এটা স্যার আপনি যেটা করবেন এটা করবো। কনফার্ম খারাপই করে কিন্তু কবিতা লিখতে পারবো না।
কোনো মাপ নাই।
এটা পড়ে আপনার প্রেমে পুরো রূপ করে পড়ে যাবো গা। আর তো আপনি পারবেন ভাই, আপনি পারবেন।
এত কিছু ফালানোর সিস্টেম জানোস, আর প্রেমে ফালানোর সিস্টেম জানোস না? কথা তো একেবারে ফালায় দেওয়ার মতো না। তাকে যদি তোরা গুলিও করস, আগে সালামটা দিয়ে নে।
আপনার ছেলেকে আমার এত পছন্দ হয়েছে যে আমি তো বিয়েতে রাজি হয়ে গেছি।
জীবনটারে আজকে 50% সাকসেস মনে হইতেছে।
সেলিমের মতো এরকম মহল্লার একটা বড় ভাই যদি থাকতো, তাহলে আজকে তোর মা নিশ্চয়ই বদমাশটার কথা। শোনো একটা কথা
ভাই বলবো না, এটা
করি না ভাই।
বন্ধু তুই যদি রক্ত দেস ভালো লাগে না রে দোস্ত।
না দুলা ভাই আমি তো কোচিং এ যাই নাই, আমার তো বাসায় গেস্ট আসছে আর আমার আম্মু তো একা, এজন্য আমি যাই না।
আমার পড়াশোনা সবকিছু বন্ধ করে দিবে, তখন আমি কি করব?
আরে ছাইরা দে। ভালোবাসা যে এত প্যারা, এত কষ্ট, এত জ্বালা যন্ত্রণা জানলে ভালোই বাসতাম। জিসান আর তুলির ভালোবাসার ইতিহাস, তাই রক্ত লাগবে দোস্ত।
আসসালামু আলাইকুম দুলা ভাই।
আরে শালা, ওয়ালাইকুম আসসালাম। কি খবর, কেমন আছো? বান্ধবীও তো যায় না, এতবার ফোন দিলাম ফোনও ধরতেছে না। তুমি একটা ফোন দাও তো, ফোন বের করো।
কি বলেন দুলা ভাই, ও যায় নাই? কথা হইছে, ভাইয়া বলছে যে ভাইয়া আমাদের কোচিং এর সামনে আর আসবে না, আর তোকে ডিস্টার্বও করবে না।
জানো না কারণ না আমি 1 থেকে 3 গুনবো না বাবা। প্রেম হইলেই হবে, প্রেম হইলে এমনি ডিফারেন্স হবে বাবা। আমার খালি ওরে দরকার। রক্ত কেন? ইতিহাস লিখবো, ভালোবাসার ইতিহাস।
ভালো আছি, আপনি ভালো আছেন?
আমি তো ভালো আছি। তো তোমার বোন কোথায়?
আচ্ছা একটা মিনিট, আমি কল দিচ্ছি।
এক রাতে ভালো হয়ে গেল, এটাও আমার বিশ্বাস করতে হবে? দোস্ত আমার না ভয় লাগছে।